Hello and welcome to episode 163 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And Jeff, it's been a week, my dude. It's been a week, buddy. But we made it to the other side of the week and a new day. Cheers. Cheers to everyone. Whoo, Jeff. I feel excited. I feel energized. I feel not as depressed as I have the last few days. Things are going good, and I'm ready to talk about some video games with you, my dear friend. We missed last week. We didn't put up an episode last week because we did our, what was it, 13, 14, 15 hour? How long did we go? Halloween stream?
Yeah, about 13 hours.
13-hour Halloween stream. And it was a ton of fun. We had lots of good guests. You can find the entire VOD over at youtube.com/nerdsatlarge or twitch.tv/nerdsatlargegaming. And we look forward to, I think we definitely want to do more of those in the future. Yeah. Maybe not always that long, but we definitely want to stream with our friends some more. We played like Among Us, we played Jackbox. We're going to talk about some of that later because those were new games for us.
Yep, we did Pokémons.
We did lots of good stuff. All of Jacob's various horror games. We're not going to talk about it later, so did Jacob's Resident Evil showing make you want to play Resident Evil Remake more? Nice. There you go. Then he did his job. So yeah, go check out that VOD later. Only other housekeeping announcement thing I want to say is that in the next few weeks, we will have our Game Awards betting special with Jacob and Will. We don't know when yet because we're kind of waiting on Jeff Keighley to release the nominees. And as far as we know, he has not
finalized bets.
He has not put any like indication of when that will happen, has he? No. When the nominees will be announced.
No. I could probably, not now, but afterwards, just kind of check when nominees were released last year. Yeah. Kind of get ideas. Maybe we can start planning with Jacob. And
point is, Game Awards is about a month out, so sometime in the next few weeks, look forward to that. That'll be a very good time. But with that out of the way, Jeff, let's get into what we've been playing, because we actually have quite a bit. And this first one, I am very, very interested to hear what you have to say about.
And that game is the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Demo. Yep. There was a Nintendo's mini partner direct last week, which we did talk about on, obviously, some of the podcast. We'll go into some of the highlights for that a little later. But one of the big things, the big finale, was a new Hyrule Warriors trailer and the announcement of a Shadow Drop demo. And
love them Shadow Drop demos.
It's one of the best kind of demos, where it's just literally the beginning of the game where the save data carries over to the full release.
You love to see it. I wish it happened more often.
Yep, you love to see it. Nintendo's doing it a little more lately. They did it with Pikmin 3, which obviously failed because they talked about everything under this. I think they talked about that UFO game more than Pikmin.
Fine. Yeah, Pikmin's out now, right?
Oh yeah, it came out last week.
Yeah, I have not heard a soul talk about Pikmin.
No, that like we hear a lot about Wii U games and stuff doing better on the Switch. I don't think Pikmin 3 is going to be one of them, or it might because it did horrible to begin with.
Yeah,
I think it's going to do worse. They're at least hyped for a brand new Pikmin. Then, like, I mean, Pikmin has its fans, and a lot of those fans probably had Wii U's or bought Wii U's for Pikmin 3.
Because you're a big Nintendo dork if you're into Pikmin, probably.
Yes. Especially with all the games going on, I have to imagine Pikmin was not a game a lot of people were going to pick double dip on, or it sounds like it didn't get people that missed it too excited.
It's not the most surprising that becomes a blip on the radar.
Yeah, Pikmin's not the biggest name, and it's a port, pretty old port at this point, and they release it around all this shit.
Yeah,
but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Hyrule Warriors. Let's talk about that trailer just real quick.
Yes.
Just going up to their stuff. The main thing it announced, though, is the Divine Beasts are playable.
Yeah, which is very surprising. And it kind of goes even more with what you were saying, that like this looks like more than just a Musou game. It looks like there's a whole adventure game element here. And that definitely speaks to that, where it's like you're playing a campaign and it's like worthy of that campaign because you're gonna be doing a bunch of different things.
Yes. So let's get into that demo, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there because it might influence whether people might want this for it. because it's the beginning of the game. We got beginning story spoilers. I'm not going to shy away from those.
Okay.
Just because they're the very beginning of the game. And if I'm being perfectly honest, some of the stuff and some of the theories that me and you could talk about might want people to wait on it, and understandably so.
Yeah, I know what he's about to say, and trust me, even if you're worried about spoilers, I mean, like you said, this is the very beginning, and again, I really do, like, if I was interested in this game, what he's about to say would probably take away my interest, to be honest. But,
yeah. Right. So it starts out, we get some cutscenes. It's at the end of the 100, what you presume is going to be the end of the game. Hyrule Castle is getting destroyed. The Guardians are everywhere. All that. Zelda powers have awakened, and she's like protecting Link and all that shit. I guess it's right before Impa and stuff. We're going to carry Link to be frozen or whatever for 100 years.
Right.
And you know, they go away from that. They go into Zelda's room. A little box kind of shifts around. And the box falls off, and out of that box comes the mini Guardian that we've seen in screens and all that kind of stuff. It apparently reacted to Zelda's powers. Is what the cutscene makes you want to think at the very least. And you know, he moves around a little bit. A Guardian busts into Zelda's room. Well, not busts into it, but busts outside the door and about to shoot a laser through its doorway and at the mini Guardian. Guardian's like, oh, fuck. Jumps to the windowsill, opens a portal, and jumps through it. And the Guardian sends Dark Ore, whatever the shit it's called, through the portal. And that portal leads to the past. To the beginning of this whole conflict.
We getting timey-wimey.
Yes. So the egg, the mini Guardian, is obviously his mission is to, you know, you can assume to stop the calamity from happening, or at the very least make the outcome different.
Has the little baby Guardian been a part of the story that you played after, like part of the demo?
Yes.
Like immediately.
So this is why some people might think, or potentially worried, because I have trouble remembering specifics from Breath of the Wild as far as that goes. You know, the Sheikah Slate is supposed to be a big deal, that the whole thing is activated and all that kind of shit. When in the first mission, when Link finds the mini Guardian, the Sheikah Slate activates, and for whatever reason, everyone can use the runes. Even if they don't possess the Sheikah Slate. Because, you know, for Zelda, because in this demo, you play as Link, Impa, and Zelda. Zelda's moveset is completely the Sheikah Slate. That's her weapon. But Impa and Link, without having the Sheikah Slate in their possession, can use the runes. So they can use the bombs, they can use the ice powers and all that kind of stuff, stop people in their tracks and all that kind of
So the insinuation that you know, don't have enough to confirm that's where it's going, but the thing that we can kind of maybe infer is that, you know, we're obviously messing with time travel, and we might be messing with an alternate reality thing where they stop the calamity from happening to basically have a happy ending for this game or something, or at least it'll be a branching path from Breath of the Wild.
Yes. So the time travel alone is not enough to necessarily do it, because most, especially 3D Zeldas, have time travel involved in some way or the other. So that's whatever. That alone, it's whatever. Yeah. This could just be a concocted, like a crazy way for them to allowing them to use Sheikah Slate powers.
Could.
Just, you know, and just add into the story and just have a cute mascot character. That could be it. I, for one, you know, I'll probably still love the game either way, but I'm hoping at the very least, if there is a good ending, it's just a branching path, and the main ending is still what we expect. Everyone gets killed. Everyone gets slaughtered. I'll kind of interject to just give some of the I really am not interested in the game, even if it was what I thought it was, but I think I'm closer to the people who I think there's a decent amount of people out there that would not have been interested in just a normal Hyrule Warriors game, but the fact that this was like a prequel telling a story before Breath of the Wild, that's why they're in. From that perspective, this worries me a lot, because this starts to make me think this is either like a non-canon thing, or like we really are just like
changing the timeline or something going forward with this. It's just like that whole like introduction to the story makes me think more of the normal thing you would expect from one of these games, which like from what you'd expect from one of these games is for the story to be kind of just weird, wacky stuff that doesn't matter. Like it's gonna be like a lot of the anime Muso games and even Hyrule Warriors probably in a similar way. Like their stories are just obviously not canon. They have a bunch of characters interacting that shouldn't be interacting, and it's just dumb fun. You know, I think they are presenting this game like it's more than dumb fun. You know what I mean? And that introduction makes me like immediately halts me in my tracks and like, oh, is this gonna be just normal Muso game side story, doesn't matter type stuff?
Yeah. So
and if that's the case, I think like me and a bunch of other people are gonna be pretty disappointed.
So again, but this is all just some kind of fan speculation and all that. Is not confirmed. It's just main reason I'm putting it out there is for people that we're going to play this because it was, they were sure it was a complete Wonder canon story. It's not 100% certainty at the moment because of this. So, people should wait if that would be a deal breaker for them for sure. A point potentially to it not being that way with the time travel stuff. I can't remember exactly when, and at some point during that demo, Zelda and Link and the Mini Guardian are walking towards something, and you see what looks to be an evil Mini Guardian behind a rock. Like it's a guardian behind a rock, but it kind of looks like the Mini Guardian, but maybe black. So
it's another Mini Guardian from another time.
No. Well, so people are thinking, and I think this will be fine. Whatever. If they do this, that is the same Mini Guardian that's around us. Just the past version of it.
Yeah.
Zelda's powers or some shit cleanse it. She puts it in a room and it's just a loop. Like the Mini Guardian is in a perpetual loop. Like no matter how many times the loop goes, the outcome is the same. It fails. Everyone fucking dies.
I doubt it. I kind of doubt it.
I don't see why not.
Because I doubt it just because, like, if they just played it straight, it was going to be an unhappy ending. Or, like, I'm sure they could find, like, stories in there to, like, mean something more for the sequel or whatever and have some happiness within the gloom. But the reason I doubt that is because, like, it was going to be a gloomy ending anyway. I kind of doubt that they introduce this whole time travel thing, do all this just to lead to the same gloomy ending. That just seems like a very convoluted way of getting to the same type of ending. This is just me predicting. I'm not saying I know for sure, but if I was predicting, I would say I really doubt that. Just because of that, I don't think that they would go to all this trouble to do this just to be like it's a loop and nothing changes. Even if it's a loop, something's going to change. Like there's going to be some effect of that. I don't think it's just going to be a loop just for the calamity happens the same way. Whatever. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I think.
My counter argument to that is Japanese storytelling is weird.
It is.
That seems like something they would do. Again, this could just be a convoluted way to them literally introduce a reason why people can use runes in combat and having a cute mascot character, and I would completely believe that.
It could, and that also sounds kind of like just wacky Muso game storytelling also, so I don't know. But who cares what I think? I wasn't going to play the game anyway. I'm very interested to see what other people think. But I do think you should wait for reviews for this game for this reason. Unless you're like, you would have enjoyed a Hyrule Warriors that is just a normal Hyrule Warriors. That's just wacky bullshit. You would have enjoyed it, and that's great.
Yeah.
A lot, like, this was not going to be this high caliber of a game if it was that. So there's a lot of people who are not down for that. So I think those, if you're like the sole reason you're in this is for the story, I would suggest you wait for reviews. And I'm sure you would too.
Yep.
All right, actual demo. How was it?
It was fucking fantastic, bro. Gameplay is great. It's obviously a Muso game, but I feel like they had so much to this that kind of just adds on to it and just adds more. I have read some impressions from people, people who have played Musos and played multiple Muso games, some that haven't. Like, oh, wait, I actually like a Muso game, huh? So, like, from a bunch of people who've been trashing Musos but never actually played one.
I've tried them and I trashed them, but go ahead.
No, saying you. There are a bunch of them that haven't even touched one.
They're definitely.
But I don't know. I feel like add a lot more stuff to this because in a lot of Muso games, characters, they different moves and stuff, but kind of generally you can kind of look at them like they kind of play the same for the most part. Yeah. There might be mild differences, like this one's more speedy, this one is just a heavy hitter.
Yeah, 100%.
Between the 3 characters we got to play, Link, Impa, and Zelda, it's more than that for sure. Link is a little more straightforward because we know he's going to get multiple weapons, but right now we just have his sword and shield. And it's pretty basic, kind of hack and slash. Each character also has, I think it's the ZR button on the Pro controller, does like a special action. Link, he just fires a bow. Which is a nice little range.
Basic protagonist boy.
Yes. Impa, what her does, she activates kind of like, I'm not 100% sure how this works, I need to play with her more. Acts like little runes and puts them on people. And when you kill those enemies, your runes add up, and the more runes you get, the more clones she makes.
Oh, jeez.
And you do a bunch of crazy shits with her clones, and I was just flying around all over the place, doing a bunch of crazy shit.
Does the Switch keep up with the frames?
So that is definitely a criticism, but I have not had as many problems with some people. Frame rate can be pretty rough at times. 100%.
But that is a lot on the screen at once.
Like Hyrule Warriors was not. I think it had a little bit of issues on like the Wii, but wasn't as bad. A problem here that's going to affect it, I think it's going to be very dependent on area. Because like in Hyrule Warriors, like when you're in a grassy field, the grass is actually the same, where each blade of grass kind of...
Is that kind of the same here? I mean,
yeah, so the frame rate can take a hit when you're in a big grassy field with a bunch of enemies and you're doing a bunch of crazy Impa shit.
So, how much does... I mean, that's kind of a good point. Does it straight up look like Breath of the Wild engine here in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, it looks a lot. It looks a lot like it. I think it's a little maybe down a little bit when obviously a bunch of... I think they had to make some concessions for the hundreds of enemies and all that kind of stuff. But overall... I think there definitely some stuff. If you showed someone as the Hyrule Warriors, they'd be like, "Yeah." Breath of the Wild. They'd be like, "Okay, yeah." That's kind of the exciting for it about this whole thing is the story-wise is kind of like the Breath of the Wild expansion people kind of wanted with the Champions thing. Yeah, but the gameplay is obviously different. But as far as the storytelling thing, obviously we'll have to see what happens with the Guardian. But overall, it might be just one of those things. Kind of like with FS7, where it's mostly what people expect, maybe until the end. I think that would be a good.
Could see that.
I think that would be the comparison for sure.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah. So gameplay is a lot of fun. Zelda is a very tricky character. I haven't wrapped my head around yet, because she, like I mentioned earlier, completely used the Sheikah Slate. So all her shit is using the different runes to do some crazy traps and stuff, and when you start a combo, the controls are generally you press, I'm trying to remember, Y to do a basic combo and X as like a finisher, like heavier hit. Okay. Depending where in the combo you stop and do the heavy hit with Zelda is the kind of trap she sets. Like you do a basic thing and she just does a bunch of little ice walls, and then when you press her ZR action button, they explode. Okay,
so it's kind of one of those that you do moves by comboing rather than like I press this button to do this move.
Yeah.
Is it almost more like Tales of Berseria or something where you do have to do a combo to get
no it actually you literally have a tree. It's like Tales. It's not as crazy like in Tales you can start from any of the buttons. Right. Literally you start with Y and go into X. Okay, is the basics of it. And that's the way it was in Hyrule Warriors if I'm not mistaken. But with Age of Calamity, there's a lot more shit because like the ZR thing, if I'm remembering correctly, is completely different. And the difference between the characters, I gotta imagine for Link and Zelda, it's gonna be dependent on the weapons potentially and all that. And going to that real quick, we know from the preview stuff, Link has at least another weapon. We know he has a spear. I gotta imagine he's gonna have a couple other weapons as well because he had like half a dozen weapons at least. Different kind of weapons, at least in Hyrule Warriors. No, in the original Hyrule Warriors. Gotcha. And not every character did that. Just mainly Link and Zelda. Yeah. We know from the actual demo, and this is easy to guess, Zelda at least has another weapon. Because what happens, so in between battles, you go to the world map. The map you see in Breath of the Wild is the exact same. Yeah. And you got missions you can go to. And some of these missions are just pretty, if you have the materials here, it's like someone does like a sword lesson, you're giving someone materials to open up a shop or the blacksmith or something you do. You also got these missions where you do another battle to level up characters and whatever. You can also replay battles as well as any character you want instead of the ones that are in the story.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you choose characters at the start of a mission and you're locked in that character? Or
Well, actually, this is something good that they... I'm not sure about the general Muso games, but in Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition on the Switch and Fire Emblem Warriors, they added that you can switch between the characters that are in the battle instantaneously.
At will.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
While in Hyrule Warriors, once you picked a character going into a mission, that was the one you were stuck with the whole time.
But we're in the switching now.
Yeah, so like,
that's
during these story missions, like when you start the first mission, you're playing as Link, of course, and then you meet Impa in the middle of the battle, and then at some point it's like, press the down arrow on the D-pad to switch to Impa.
That's awesome.
Immediately to Impa wherever she is on the map.
That's sweet. That's way better than.
And they have a little strategy mode thing where I think if you press plus, you can open it up and tell people where to go. Like, so if you got multiple strongholds that you need to take down, it's like, okay, I'm going as Link here, Impa go here. And then once I take it,
still switch between them.
Yeah, so once I take care of it with Link and Impa's not done, I can switch to her to clean up.
That's pretty cool. And I feel like you'd be more willing to use like a tricky character like Zelda if you weren't locked in her for the whole mission. You know, if you're locked in here, you might be like never actually pick her because she's more situational. But they can probably have some more like interesting move sets if you don't have to rely on only them.
Yeah. We're going back to the different movesets real quick. Sorry, got off track.
That's fine. I'm enjoying it.
You get these training missions where that's how you unlock combos. You just kind of get the material or do something, and once you finish it, you get another combo thing for a character.
Okay.
And how you know if people have multiple weapons is for a Link, it says sword, like it just says his sword. For Impa, it just says Impa in general.
Okay. So you know right away.
You know Impa's going to have only the one weapon, which cool. Her moveset's crazy, so that's fine. For Zelda, it just says Sheikah Slate.
Nice.
So I'm going to take a wild guess and say at the end of the game, you unlock her with goddess powers.
Probably.
And that will be insane. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, judging from Hyrule Warriors 1, like, how much of the moveset changes when you change weapons? Is it
completely different. For example, I will use Hyrule Warriors, the original Hyrule Warriors as an example. These are extreme examples, admittedly, but to give you an idea, Link has his Master Sword and Shield. Yeah. That's pretty basic. Yeah. One of his weapons is the Great Fairy. Great Fairy bottle, where the Great Fairy comes out, Link is trapped tiny in the bottle, and you're the Great Fairy whacking around people.
My god. So yeah, it's basically just a new character.
Pretty much. So it can vary greatly. I don't know how much they'll do in Breath of the Wild. I also remember they also had the big sword things. Yeah. Like the big swords is a weapon, which is not surprising at all. Yeah. They'll probably also give them a bow, maybe. Or depending if they don't want to step under Rivali's turf too much.
Sounds cool. Sounds very cool.
Yeah, and like I think I mentioned before when we talked about trailers, each character can use the runes on the Sheikah Slate, and they work different ways. I'm sure there's going to be a little overlap, of course. You can only do so much stuff with this shit. Yeah. But it's crazy like how different it is. I'm having trouble remembering how every character works. I don't think I even used them all because that's technically me doing
a lot of the possibilities.
I ended up unlocking all the runes. All 4 of the runes already. Yeah. But I don't think I tried them out with all of them out with every character. But like for the cryonesis or whatever, for Link, it's literally jumping up and you can kind of fly over people, then crash down and beat people up. Or if they're tall enough, just start doing some air slashes on them. Nice. For Impa, is literally she makes the rock come out of the air, and I think if you push forward, she rides on it and you can drive it around.
That's awesome.
And I'll use this one last example. Link, for bombs, he just throws a bunch of bombs. Pretty simple. Zelda, she has this big bomb walker thing, like that you take control of and move around, and it shoots out bombs. And it's crazy. That's crazy.
Sure, at the end of this, we're going to be like, bitch, you could have helped me in the main game. Like, where were you 100 years from now? Come on.
Zelda's kind of trapped keeping getting that day. She has an excuse, and Impa is unfortunately very old.
Impa is very old. But if she makes 100 clones, doesn't matter how old.
What's also exciting is based on data mining from people did from the demo, we know we're probably going to get a bunch more characters in the actual game. I guess spoilers potentially for that. Hetsu looks like he's going to be playable. The big Korok guy with the maracas.
Right. Yes.
Potentially, again, an emblem was found around the playable characters. It's like at the very end, so it could be its own
I was about
thing.
to say, there could be some post-game, like, non-canon.
But, I mean, villains are usually playable in these games.
I'm sure they'll dip into that well.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of different post-game modes you can do and all stuff, so you can play as anyone. I'm curious what the hell that means. And the champions... successors are also playable in the game, which might mean something for the whole timey-wimey shit. We don't know what the hell that will mean.
Yeah, that's the type of things that worries me too. Like, I hope that those characters are all just post-game, not part of the story, just here's for fun. But like, if they start doing the whole like, oh, everyone's coming back from the past just so that we can have some more characters in the story, that's when I'm like, oh, I wish this wasn't canon. That's where I would start to be like, oh no, this is
that would immediately mean that it's just not canon.
Which would also be a bummer. Either way, it'd be a bummer. Yeah.
I'm happy they're playable because that's just kind of more characters. Yeah, it just depends how they're injected in the game, because they were gonna be playable, whether it be in the base game in some way or they were gonna be DLC. I think those characters, like, they were not gonna not put Sidon in this game.
Yeah.
He's arguably more popular than most of the champions.
Yeah, I'm totally in favor of putting them in there, just like post-game content. That's what I would want. Yeah.
But
so you can have the best of both worlds with this game. You can
that's the thing where that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because Hyrule Warriors had loads of post-game content and stuff to do, where people spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours in Hyrule Warriors.
Oh, I'm sure. That's gonna happen here. I hope that it is like two separate experiences. That's
also, something
just the weird thing, because they just presented this so much as like a story centric. Like, like you're gonna care about the story. So it's like,
now, I have no characters in mind for this, Darby, but there's no way in hell this game's not gonna have DLC.
Yeah. All beat them.
Yes. But there are only so many more characters that are in Breath of the Wild that are not playable. So what I would love, because again, this would be non-canon characters. They just take characters throughout Zelda and put them in the Breath of the Wild art style.
I agree. That would be dope. I want to see Midna and Wolf.
That's what I want. And this will just take this game so much farther.
That would be
but
really
I am loving the gameplay so far. It's, in my mind, a step up from Hyrule Warriors, which is the original Hyrule Warriors, which I already loved.
Yeah.
So I am very excited. I'm hoping, again, they keep the story, just the canon bits, and then...
It sounds sweet. I love how diverse it sounds like everyone's moves are. And
so you can expect, I guess, a spoiler talk once I am done with that game during the podcast.
I'm sure you probably would want to like tear through this on your own time, but like I wouldn't mind like streaming this with you, because I'm very interested in seeing the story, even if I don't necessarily want to play the game. But like I wouldn't mind watching you play this game, because it would be fun to.
You ready for Hyrule Warriors streams, baby?
But again, I understand. I know you probably don't want to like wait for our streams to go through the story, but
we'll just see how it goes. There'll be a lot of maybe in between times where I level up characters and that kind of shit. So that can be what I do.
Yeah, but I'm down. This is a game that I'm down to like see. I want to like see the story. But,
see all the crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
Okay, hopefully not nonsense. Okay, but
crazy.
But Darby, speaking of crazy nonsense.
Speaking of crazy nonsense, the reaction to the new League character has been a bunch of nonsense.
Has it actually been a nonsense? Did my segue actually make sense?
I mean, it has been a lot of nonsense. People.
Okay, I was going to say a very dumb thing to try to make it work, and didn't figure it out, so this is better.
Okay.
And then I ruined it by explaining stuff. So go.
It's golden, Jeff. Nailed it. He didn't even know he nailed it, but he nailed it.
I always do.
I don't want to talk too much about that. And I'm still, everything with League, I'm still kind of a newcomer, even though I've played it for a lot now. But in comparison to other people, I'm still
I
very
need
much
you to play
newcomer.
at least 2,000 hours before you can even talk to me.
Pretty much is probably the mentality of a lot of people. But there's a new League character named Seraphine, and she is apparently she's primarily supposed to be mid, but she's very supporty. I mean, a lot of League characters can be played anywhere, and I pretty much only play support, and I'm playing her support, and I absolutely love her. I think she like fits exactly my play style with like she's very like she can stun people and heal and do all these things. But yeah, I do want to briefly just talk about the just the response. Like I guess I should learn to expect that every corner of the video game industry just has very obnoxious people that overreact to things. because it just seems like that is true.
I just look at the character to see what she looks like and all that shit.
She is like a very. She's like. It was very obvious they made her as like a member of KDA. That was like a thing that they were pushing with her, and they did this whole like social media build up thing with her, and like. And they just released the song and the video, which I'll probably briefly talk about that too because it was really sweet. It was one of those things that, like, as soon as she was announced, like, there's another music character in the game. So everyone's like, oh, she's just a copy of this character. And everyone's, like, mad that she looks girly, basically. And they're, like, ignoring the fact that this game has, like, 15 ninjas. There's, like, 15 dudes with a mask and blades and stuff. But then, like, apparently them having, like, a super feminine girly character or whatever is, like, blasphemy or something, and they're like it's just a carbon copy of this. If you go and look at like the character they think is a carbon copy of, it's like there's something similar moveset wise, but it's like a completely different type of character.
What's the character's name? That's
Sona. I mean, it's just there's two different music characters. They both are kind of supporty, but like there's not really that much of a that similar. Like I think just the reaction is pretty overblown. It's kind of. Again, it's a game with 150 something characters. There's a lot of similarities.
No.
It's just dumb. It's just the whole reaction. I just really have not, because it's like visceral. You go look at like her release video thing, and it's like 30K dislikes, 5K. I'm like, what the hell, guys? It's like. But you know, I don't have a ton to say because I'm not like super well versed, but like I've really enjoyed her.
I saw you mentioning her, like I love Seraphine and showing some clips. I had no idea if it was a new character or not, obviously, because I'm not as nearly as well versed.
They're all pretty much new to me, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
man, Darby, it's so crazy how this is the fourth new character since you guys have played League, and then you look at Overwatch.
That's the thing that bums me out so much is just the difference with that. But even like ignoring Overwatch, I also kind of want to briefly. I actually do kind of want to talk about that KDA video. Because, like, it shows me, again, the more and more I've delved into League, it is wild how much of League of Legends is just, like, an entire industry that is, like, so ridiculously big.
What I think that's kind of interesting is I see people on Twitter, like people we follow, talk about KDA.
Yeah.
and I know they don't play League.
Well, that was me for a while.
Yeah.
Pop Stars is awesome.
Yeah.
It's an awesome song. It's like, yeah, I don't know anything about League of Legends, but the song is cool. But like, yeah, I kind of want to show you that video at some point because it's just like the amount of the animation is just stunning in that, and they just released the whole EP that's like really good. It's really weird that I was like excited for an EP for a fictional pop group within League of Legends. That's just, and there's like an anime coming out. There's like 3 different games coming out. They got trailers. The trailers were kind of like whatever generic trailers, but still, I'm excited for the games. It's wild how big this whole community is.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't like speak too much. It would be easier if like I had other people that like played it a lot, but I can't on my own. I can't really like. It's like she's a good support. I really like her, but she's cool. League has been pretty cool for me recently because I'm kind of like in between games. Honestly, just waiting for Cyberpunk. I just want Cyberpunk, Jeff. I just want Cyberpunk.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So League has been a very good kind of, when you don't have a game to play more League. And I still haven't gotten tired of it, even though I put in like freaking 90 hours of it.
Nice.
So it's pretty sweet. The KDA album slaps. I enjoy it quite a lot.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to put this in there. It has to be long.
Fucking slaps, Jeff. And like World's got like 4.5 million people watching it. It's just ludicrous.
Isn't that without China as well?
That's what Alex said.
Wild.
It's bigger in China than here, so that's just wild.
Wild.
You
know what else is wild, Darby? I have finished Persona 5 Royal. I did it. I am a god.
They said it couldn't be done.
They said it couldn't be done. Though we looked out of curiosity at the trophy thing, a good amount of people finished. What was it, like 47% or something?
I was very surprised.
Yeah,
very surprised. That's bigger than most games. Like,
yeah,
and this is a re-release. So
it's a re-release of a game, very long game, a really long game that's even longer than the original game.
Wow. What was your final playtime?
120 hours.
Wow, that's a lot.
Is
and that's Jeff. Jeff finishes games faster than the average bear.
Yes.
So that's quite a lot of time put into this, but seeing how fast you nailed through that, I think you might have liked it.
Maybe a little. Thanks, COVID. I'm joking. I just had a cold. That was out for week 4.
We just had a scare, but no real thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think like we got on the podcast. I think you pretty much beating like the main game, but like I want to hear like what is your take, your non-spoilery take for whatever you could do with that of the actual ending royal content that I have not played.
I think it's really good. I think the way they kind of frame it around the original ending was well done, and why it kind of makes sense to be an extension of a game and not just something kind of like it kind of makes sense that this would be after the story and not just feel kind of shoehorned in. At least in my opinion, there might be people that played the original game that feel differently. Or maybe my take's better because I'm not blinded by the original thing. Because I know people were really upset about the new quote unquote true ending. I've seen the differences. I'm like, that's not. I don't get it. But I don't. The difference is ineligible to my opinion, or very small in my opinion.
I feel like P5 ends openly enough to where I could believe you inserting something into it.
Yeah.
I think, but I don't. I haven't seen that. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, all that crazy stuff. I think something we've talked about openly. About like Kasumi. Not really being a big part of the main game until Royal. We talked about that. I get why they made an insert into the main game as much as they did, because that's a lot of work. As far as voice lines and all that kind of stuff, I get that's a more of a major undertaking than they are maybe willing to do. They insert her a good bit throughout the game, so it's not like you go through the whole game like, okay, I kind of know her, and then suddenly, oh shit, she's just involved everywhere for no reason. Right. I think they did a good job inserting her enough through the game to make it feel like she's a constant presence. Okay. And what they did with the story and the royal part of it makes it make sense, and it's just really good.
Yeah, I imagine she's pretty significant in that part.
100%.
Yeah. Did you feel like? I mean, how did you feel? Did you feel satisfied with the amount of gameplay time you got with her?
I mean, obviously, I wish I had more, but I enjoyed my time with her. I think it's because this is one of the stages in this where in the final palace, a lot of people were weak against her element, so it's like I never really took her out.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, to just make her very viable there. Yeah. So, but
I got a whole palace with her, which honestly probably means and it was probably the longest palace, maybe. I don't know. It
seemed like it just from how long you were playing it.
Yeah.
And where you were at.
I probably used her more than you can kind of measure it to maybe some of the other party members that I just used less.
Nice.
So
yeah. Cool. Did the royal story kind of like, oh, that's weird. I'm like kind of asking questions but not really wanting to know the full answers to them. But like, did it feel like a continuation of the main story, or did it kind of feel like a like, all right, this is a separate short story that we are telling after the events of 5? Like,
it's so I feel like and you might feel differently once you play Royal because you played the main game and just kind of you can maybe kind of feel that way knowing that it's just a continuation, but I feel like the way they set everything up and transitioned into it, I think it was well done to where it's just a continuation of the story. Like and again, this is part of knowing that what is the ending of the original game and what's the bonus content. And like, you might feel it might be a little weird going from what the final was to what the royal content is.
Yeah.
Just from a basic JRPG sense.
Well, and that's what I mean, because spoilers, P5 gets pretty JRPG ending at the end of the base game. It gets pretty, apocalyptic, like how you would expect. So it does seem like maybe kind of weird to have like, and then, okay, there's more.
Yeah. But I think they did a really good job with it, again, without trying to avoid the spoilers.
I know it's hard.
But, yeah.
Well, sweet.
And again, I think they did a really good job of the parts of what are obviously new parts in like during the main game.
Yeah.
For some characters that are more prevalent or new characters that are prevalent in Royal, seeing those scenes, and then obviously, in the royal content, just going full crazy with them to where, in my opinion, it worked.
Nice. I'm in a weird spot where I really want to experience this, but the thought of replaying a 100-hour game is kind of that I've already played is kind of daunting.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned like you kind of wish it was like with Xenoblade where you can just jump right into the extra story, but I don't think that works.
Yeah,
because you need to build the relationships with like Kasumi and stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of a sucky feeling, kind of feeling like I was shafted because I played it earlier, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll do it at some point, but I'm sure it's understandable that like replaying a 100-hour game is a lot.
Oh yeah,
that's just it's daunting.
Well, at least now you know my copy is always there when you're ready.
Yeah, and I'm sure at some point I will. Right now that sounds like a lot, but I'm sure at some point I will do it. Hopefully, I can avoid spoilers before then.
Yeah, we'll try.
Do you think it's like is it a heavily spoilable chapter?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Remember, I told you when you were about to sit down and watch me just do battle, I was like, you go away.
Get out of this room.
There are some things that are heavily spoilable. So, yeah.
All right, well, let's briefly talk a little bit about the games that we played during that Halloween stream. We don't have to go much into this, but I do feel like anyone listening to this who hasn't played these games, I mean, the first one they know about, but the second one, maybe a little less so. First one, Among Us. We actually played Among Us. We did the thing.
Which got updates this week, or I think it's getting a new map soon. It got some cool updates, which could have been cool for us. But it didn't matter as much because most of us haven't played much. It was in the beta version of the game, but they added to. I was watching Alpharad play it. The regular version of the game where you can set it so taskbars only go up during meetings, so you can't just watch someone faking a task. Because if you watch someone, they're faking attacks and it doesn't go up.
I thought about that. Does that work? Could you just catch someone by just
if you're watching them during a task or whatever and it doesn't go up? Like if it's something that's supposed to be like if they're doing wires and they're sitting there for like 10 seconds and it doesn't go up.
Yeah, that seems kind of broken. You know.
A lot of people have gotten people that way. But they do it now. It only goes up during meetings.
That's good.
And just some other little stuff, and they're gonna add more stuff. I didn't read into it. They're adding another map, like I said, which is gonna
that's awesome.
It's big.
Yeah, that's very big too. And I mean, they're probably in a kind of good situation, at least like in comparison to like someone like Fall Guys that like got this crazy success at launch, and then now they can't really keep up with. They can't make content fast enough to like withhold that popularity. The kind of good thing for Among Us is that it had been around for 2 years and they were making a sequel. So they've already made a lot of content that they've just been sitting on. And now it's probably just like, okay, let's just start repurposing this stuff and putting it into the main game. So they probably already have more things locked and loaded like a new map than they would than like someone like Fall Guys does because they just launched. You know?
I think what helps Among Us compared to Fall Guys is the kind of game it is. Because Fall Guys is great, but it is you going through, even if you are playing with friends, these same few events and maps. With Among Us, you have the same objectives and stuff, but because of the kind of game it is, with the line kind of game,
right?
Each game is different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And playing with kind of game that's made with longevity.
Yeah, and playing with different groups changes it.
Yes.
Whereas Fall Guys, you're kind of more independent. You can play with friends, but you're not really doing anything with each other. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's but now that I've played it, I mean, I'd seen enough of it to know what it was like and that it was really good, but actually playing it is a ton of fun. It is. I'm not very good at it, but me and you, imposters, the professional imposters, we won around.
Yeah, we're first time imposters. I was like, when am I going to get imposters? See both of us. I'm like, I don't know if you heard me, but when I muted, it's like, let's do this, Darby.
I do not think I heard that, but it was. I think me and you were very suspiciously quiet, but it worked.
Well, part of it is, and this happened regardless when I was imposter or a crewmate or not. Just with the people we're playing with, they're the kind of the talkative take charge thing. And I can be talkative during these kind of games, but I'm not the one to inject myself in conversations. So I was quiet, even though I didn't mean to be. Like one of the last games, Darby was a fucking imposter. O2 went off. I was doing Simon Says, so I was trying to finish that. I started walking towards O2. I see Darby walk past me. I'm like, well, O2's still going off. Like, that's suspicious as hell. Let's get away from him. I assumed your cooldown wasn't all the way down yet, or I would have died there. But then when we get to the meeting, was trying to wait for him. I was like, hey, Darby. And then you were like, yeah. And then someone just kept on talking. I kept on doing it, but he kept talking over me. It's like, well, there we go.
You mentioned something, but you were like underneath everyone else. And I was like, all right, just ignore him. Just don't answer. Just like sit over here and be like silent. Just let them all argue.
I got you right.
You got me, but
people fucking suck.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So much fun.
Now, I need to learn what people do because I was going to do some shenanigans. Like, I was going to do this no matter what. I ended up being imposter, but I was going to say no matter what, when we got to the first meeting for you, if you weren't dead, it's like, Darby's not dead. He's obviously imposter. And then Hold It immediately found that suspicious. I'm like, I'm just doing a bit. I mean, you're right, I'm imposter. I was going to do this no matter what. So I got to learn what... apparently with that group, you can't... It's harder to do bits.
Yeah, every group is different. Yeah.
I want to do bits.
It's so funny when you're like dead and you're watching, you know what's happening, and you just see them, like you see the person, they like start to go towards the person you know is imposter, and then one person says something, they all just latch onto that, and you're just like, ah.
Now I remember it was one kill for me. I can't remember the exact situation. Oh, I remember now. I was with Brent or something, and who was it that killed me? I can't remember who it was. I was up doing an electrical with Brent whenever we were doing our task. It was Dallas. Yeah, I was going out of electrical. Dallas comes to kill me when I was walking down, kills me, was going to try to vent, and then Brent was there, walked past Dallas, called my body, and they mentioned Dallas was there. Dallas just said the lamest excuse of, oh, I didn't see the body when I was in the middle of the floor. And it's like, this is the most obvious thing the whole time. He'd even try to pin it on Brent.
So funny. I had like my most memorable one was Chad kills me and then immediately reports the body, and he's like, I found Darby here. I have no clue who killed him. I really have no clue. I'm like, you motherfucker.
What's gonna be fun is I forget the name of the place. There's this one that has a thing called Vitals. So where you can see when
yeah, I never found that. I never knew
it wasn't in the map we played. So we only played one map.
Okay.
And then when you're just captively watching it when someone dies, and then you immediately do the report and like, I just found this body. It's like, no, you fucking didn't. It was literally a second after he died. You killer. No, I think it's fun. I definitely want to play more of it.
Yeah.
Other things we played. Pokemon stuff was fun. People should go check out. Darby did stuff on his own.
Yes. Yeah.
With the help from chat.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Like, you should maybe go watch that in Twitch, Kathy. You can see the chat, because the chat was a very crucial component of that. But really, the only other game that for time we need to get in the news. The only other game I want to talk about was kind of a more surprise one. Jackbox Party Pack 7, but specifically,
what's it called?
Specifically the game that's all about giving like a speech. It was like talking points or something like that.
I think that. Let me just try to pull it up real quick.
It was something like that.
Yeah, it's talking points.
Okay, yeah. There's lots of great Jackbox games. I think that one's like far and away my favorite. I was like, really,
we were playing Quick Flash, those clips, that's fun. Then we got to that, we were just dying.
Like, we were all just.
I feel bad for Matt because of the difference in the stream. I don't know how that. I know, unfortunately, even there were no settings for it, so we couldn't do anything about it. It had to be a screen share thing, so that's unfortunate. But the good news is for us, even though it's just on my Switch, so streaming it won't exactly work with people.
Yeah.
We know, because after everyone left, me, you, Alex, and Olivia did it for a little bit, and it was just as hilarious.
And that was the great thing. Like, even with just 4 people, it was like we were dying. Like, my face hurt so bad. Do you want to briefly explain the game?
So pretty much, the game starts with everyone getting 3 different topics, and you fill in the blank to give someone a speech idea, and then 3 random ones get sent to every person. That person chooses it, and then what they're going to be talking about as a presenter, and each presenter has an assistant. So the presenter is talking while the assistant is just picking random pictures. And the presenters are going to try to fit that into their speech somehow.
Guys, it's so good. Because, like, obviously we end up just sabotaging. It's like you're the person picking the photo. It's like there's photos you can use to kind of go along with what they're saying, or you can do this just, like, absolutely ridiculous photo. And it's so good. You see the people, like, they do the transition thing, and they'll be like, and the reason why I feel this way is, and then you put, like, a graph.
12 dogs and tutus. Let me tell you why this means Hitler was right.
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
You know someone ended up having those problems.
Sure. We got some... And there were some good, just general funny ones, and then we had stuff that was like very specific towards us because you can kind of fill in the blank for like there's prompts and you can fill in the blank, and it's very good, very very good. And Quiplash was obviously really funny. The other one we played, what was the other one? The other one was funny too. I forgot what it was, but
I'm blanking.
Yeah. In general, I think it was a strong pack. I think that's the newest Jackbox.
Champed Up.
Oh yeah, that was really funny too.
Yeah,
you draw a character, and then those 2 characters, like you and another person's character, fight.
After you draw a character, you you get a prompt for you to draw your character. You get sent another person's champion, and you gotta make a challenger, but you don't know what the prompt is. So, like, let's say someone draws Darby, someone gets sent for, like, Darby is the champion of sadness or something. I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah.
True.
They get sent the Darby picture, not knowing what it is, to, like, Alex.
Yeah. My favorite was still me and Olivia when I made Kenneth and she made Ronald or whatever it was. It was just these, like, bare bones, really fat stick figures, and she just, like, went along with the joke. Went along with it. And I appreciate it. It was great.
Good times.
All right. Let's get into the news. But seriously. Jackbox Party Pack 7 is on the Game of the Year list now just because of those games.
Yep.
I don't know where, but it's on our best of list somewhere.
Yep. Jingle, jingle, jangle time, Darby.
Jingle, jingle, jangle.
Okay, Darby, missed this last time. It's time for the biggest news since Microsoft bought Bethesda. Are you ready for this? Sony bought anime. Sony bought Crunchyroll, so they now own all the anime. But for real though, people talk about Microsoft taking like a monopoly on games because of their purchases, which is far from the truth, obviously. There is a case to be made that's just Sony's about to just own anime in the West. They now own Crunchyroll and Funimation.
No, I didn't know they owned Funimation.
Yeah, that's like the 2 big
Netflix has a few.
That's the thing that I guess helps the whole it's not a monopoly type thing.
We got a few.
Yeah. Okay. But for real, let's get into... We're going to start this with a quick... Well, maybe quick. We'll see how it goes. Next-gen high check, Darby. Because we are T-minus 3 days away from next-gen starting.
It's weird. This week, like, completely, like, killed all my thoughts. Like, suddenly next gen is sneaking up on me now, even though we've been talking about it week after week after week. But then this last week was just a void where all other news just like goes to die.
And it's funny since we got actual reviews for consoles and shit.
Yeah. And I barely watched any of them.
Yeah. I haven't watched too much of it either.
I'll see if you agree with me. I always think console reviews are a bit silly.
Putting numbers on consoles is stupid.
It's pretty dumb. It's just like, because like the actual, as long as the hardware doesn't like smoke and die, it's like it's gonna matter what the games that come afterwards or whatever. Like I think the Switch reviews were like pretty bad at the start or whatever. It's like it doesn't matter. Like the game, like we don't know what this is gonna be yet. It's like
the funny thing is I see people like as far as the past review scores, like, well, yeah, the hardware is amazing, the best thing ever. But where are the exclusive games? And that just takes down the scores. Like, this is dumb. They'll get games. Just stop.
It's like you're
talk about the actual hardware.
You're putting a number on like a week in time, basically, is what you're doing. You're not really putting a number on. What game that has at this very moment? That's stupid.
If
someone like multiple months from now looks at your review score, it means nothing to them because you're literally just reviewing as of November 1st. This is, it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
But impressions and people have their hands on it and everything. It was like, where are you at? 'Cause you're the one that's going to have, God willing, a console next week.
Hopefully, Target needs to hurry up and just tell me when I'm getting my dang console, or let me fucking pick it up in the store day one. Damn it. Yeah, but that's not, that's happening. I don't know like when I'll get it. Now I'm excited. We're getting closer now. I was thinking like, yeah, we're gonna have that new shit. We got reviews of the 2 games I am going to be getting. Have day one. I'm not necessarily getting one of them. Miles Morales and Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
Astro is going to be on the PS5, as people know, day one. And
it looks surprisingly good. Like, I mean, not really surprising to us. We know that team is so freaking talented. But
I think the surprising thing is, again, like you said, they're amazingly talented teams. So it being kind of good is good, and that's surprising. But it's kind of like how much people are praising it, in what ways, kind of like seeing some people that have played it said, oh, this is like one of my favorite games of the year, just full stop, regardless of the back
like, obviously, just because of the VR barrier of entry, there's going to be a lot more people who play this game than play Astrobot. Mm-hmm. So there's probably going to be, me and you have been screaming from the rooftops, please give this team more games and a bigger budget. But now you're going to have a lot of people who play this who'll be like, ooh, I want more of that. I want more of this. You know?
And I think just completely based on reviews is Sony's going to look at them, because obviously, they're not going to be able to look at how it sells and figure out where to go from there as far as what the team does next, the budget and all that. They'll be looking at the impressions, and the reviews are as good, if not better, than Miles Morales score-wise for what I've seen. So I have to imagine they're going to give them a bigger budget, and who knows? They might continue with the Astro thing, because people, at least I know, it's a weird thing where Astro and those words are kind of generic. Like there's no getting around that, but they're endearing in a way. Like just the way the personalities they give it.
But I think even like the game itself is really quality, but I think like praising this team goes even further than that. Like they've made 2 with Astrobot and Rescue Mission and this. They made 2 phenomenal games with very low budget and very low resources, and they were given a generic ass mascot, and somehow, like you said, made that really endearing. And I think that was all by their own witty writing and witty like just set design and everything, to where it's like, like these bots should not be as endearing as they are, but the situations they put them in, it's like there's a charm to that is reminiscent of Nintendo. I think that is the closest analogous to like the charm that they
we were talking earlier off camera about what they can potentially do next, because I think we agree they're probably going to obviously give another game and probably a bigger budget, I assume. And you were talking about maybe them doing a new IP or whatever, because maybe Astro doesn't matter. It depends what the team does. I feel like with Astro is kind of getting recognizable at this point. And again, it depends how people react to Playroom and how many people play it and all that. I could see them continuing that, and at least for one more game, and like, okay, we have all these ideas for a full game. Some of them they put in this game, but they're like, okay, we're gonna hold some of this back, and then boom, full game in a couple of years. Pretty much with Astrobot.
I just worried that they won't be able to get past the fact that these little bots are ads. And they're great. I love it. But I mean, like, they've been used as PlayStation marketing so much. And I mean, even this, like, you're literally walking through a PS5. Like, there's cooling fans and stuff like that. Like, it's an ad. It's a damn good one, but it's an ad. So I just worry that it's never going to have the, like, box office pull, the commercial success that we want it to, because it's always going to be looked at as like lesser. Just like Astrobot Rescue Mission, I would not fault anyone for thinking like, oh, okay, that's probably not something that's really worth my time. Like I wouldn't have thought so until people are like, no, legit, you need to play this game. So I personally hope that they can shed Astrobot and kind of go do something else, but I don't think I think the game will be great. Whatever they make will be great. It's just, even if it is Astro, it's just like, I think this is one of the most unspoken teams that just has not really gotten their like really big shot. So it's great.
They've been praised to the heavens, but
I love that we talked way more about Astro than Miles.
Well, in a way, we got more to talk about with Astro, because we've seen significantly more gameplay, or more gameplays out there. Because Miles, we got reviews and stuff, but it seems like people aren't able to show as much, which understandably so. But yeah, it's reviews are out there. It's I think scores are pretty in line with Spider-Man, maybe a couple points below, as far as the over general score. And as far as the actual words in the review, which is obviously important, it seems for some people, I think Greg Miller is one of those like, oh, this is better than Spider-Man. As far as the actual gameplay and that kind of stuff. I didn't look too deep and see how he felt comparatively the story, but I've seen good things about that.
I listened to the whole thing. He likes it, and I can kind of see that, and especially the way that he talked about it, because like, I mean, I really like Spider-Man 2018, but compared to a lot of people you would see on gaming podcasts and stuff, I'm probably on the lower end. It's just like, I think it had some padding. I think it had some areas that didn't need to be there. I think it had some problems, but it was definitely like a really fun superhero game. I could totally see how a more like focused in, somewhat kind of shorter, like focused on Miles and like maybe one or two antagonist story could land really well. In a similar way to like Uncharted Lost Legacy, I think it was like really good because it's just like focusing on this like kind of smaller story. And I think Spider-Man 2018 was spread too thin. Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they like have one or two main protagonists they might switch between, and then like maybe have like with Taskmaster in the first one, have like a side quest line, maybe with one other villain. Optional side quest thing.
Which people
we know Prowler is in it.
The only like thing that's like a bit of a bummer to me is that when people talked about this review, it sounds like it's not the most surprising, but it sounds like it has like the Miles Morales analogous thing for like everything that's in Spider-Man. Like you're swinging around. There's collectibles that are basically the exact same as the backpacks, just there's something else. There's like crimes and stuff that are pretty much the exact same as Spider-Man. There's just less of them, and there's that kind of thing. And the map seems like very similar. Like this feels like super beefy DLC, which is not a bad thing exactly. But I can see how I can also see the other side of that.
Oh no, I was definitely gonna bring that up.
Where people you could play this and feel a little unfulfilled. Like I know that they set the expectations right, but you can still play it and be like, I kind of like I don't know, or like I either want more or I wanted more innovation. Like I don't think this game's gonna be very innovative. I think it's gonna be kind of. We're taking Spider-Man as a base, as a very, like, a lot of that game is still here, but we're setting this up. As far as story-wise, though, I think this is going to make Spider-Man 2 better. Yeah. The fact that
100%.
You can build...
And we've been talking about when the moment this game was announced, is the fact that we're just going to get kind of a lot of Miles' growing phase over with, which obviously needs to be done before it's
and that will allow him to be a very big part of Spider-Man 2. I imagine playtime will be pretty split almost evenly between the two in Spider-Man 2 is what I would predict. Yeah. And I think Miles is going to be very important for the story, and that's going to feel more meaningful since you had this. It kind of reminds me of the MCU. We're starting to like build up different characters through different properties rather than like, okay, we have to introduce this character and build him up in this game. I think it's kind of, and if they want to use smaller experiences like this to do that, I'm okay with them continuing to do that as long as they don't feel too iterative instead of innovative.
I do think that what this game could potentially do and hurt the Spider-Man series in the long run is if 2 is not is kind of more the same, having 3 or 2.5 games, depending how you look at it, of exactly the same thing might start running on people even that are more positive than me and you are.
Right. And I really worry about that because by the end of Spider-Man 2018, I was getting a little tired of the combat and the world exploration. I was just kind of like, all right, let's get the story. Let's just end this because I was getting a little tired of it. And like, if Miles Morales, if I do another additional 8 hours, that's pretty much the same as that. And then we go into Spider-Man 2, and like you said, it's still kind of the same thing. I really think by the end of Spider-Man 2, I might be like, all right, I'm done unless this changes. I could totally see me getting to that point. And at some point, the rest of the world would agree with me. I'll probably get there sooner than other people.
People still play Assassin's Creed, Darby.
Yeah, maybe they never.
Sorry, I have much to say about Xbox. We have nothing much to go on.
Yeah, we're going to play on PC. We've talked about this a bunch of times. If Xbox is not okay with the fact that we're just going to play all their Xbox games on PC and we have Xbox Game Pass, but we're not getting their console, then they marketed wrong.
Well, Darby, I'll just do the next thing I was doing and just mix it in with this. There is another game that's going to be playing at launch that I will have access to, because they announced last week that Bugsnax is going to be free on PlayStation Plus at launch for 2 months.
Huge. I mean, legit huge. I will play this game.
No. Yeah, I went from I might maybe play this game at some point, probably not to. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Easy.
Hell yeah. I was thinking like I might play this with like my sister and and brother-in-law because it's not a game that I'm gonna be like I have to beat this game really fast to like tear through it. I won't mind like taking breaks in between. And I think it might just be like wacky enough. Like I want to know how this game ends, how it resolves, how all this.
The thing is, like, you are interested, like as far as like a story standpoint, it's that voice cast. Like, they got to get all those people in there somewhere.
Like, I mean, maybe I'm putting too much expectation, and it'll like I shouldn't be, but like I just expect there to be some twist in this game that really shocks me.
I guess the good news, I think it was. Greg Miller said, I think Monday review embargo's up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I actually don't want to spoil. I'll actually be trepidatious.
I just want to see general things if
I see people being like, legit, this game gets as crazy as you're thinking, I'll be like, hell yeah, let's go, dude, let's go.
Yeah, that will be good.
I think that's very big for that, and I think this is easily going to be the biggest game of that team. Like this is going to surpass all the Octodads as far as reception and amount of people played. I think,
100%. Related to PlayStation Plus and I guess a PS5 launch, Destruction All Stars was going to be a launch title, but last week delayed until February 2021. But they announced that it's going to be free for the first 2 months that it's out on PlayStation Plus.
Also very smart.
Very smart. I don't know what exactly. It might have been a mix of things. It might be the game actually needed more time. But I imagine part of it is, or at least with the PlayStation Plus, was they probably saw those pre-order numbers and like, okay, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because we said at the moment that, I think it was right after PlayStation 5 event when they announced the date and everything, I think it quickly was shown it was $70 and we were like, what are they thinking?
And we all were. I mean, everything went from like, okay, this could be pretty fun to like, who the hell is going to buy this?
The only people I saw that were actually going to buy were people who just really wanted all the PlayStation 5 exclusives.
Yeah, it was only people who were literally buying the entire launch lineup just to kind of buy it. And like you said, I bet it's a combination. I'm sure it probably needed some more work, but I guarantee you that they would. Especially since this is a Sony-made game, right?
Yes, it is Sony first party.
I keep thinking it's Ubisoft for some reason. There's just some Ubisoft energy is coming off of this game. But I'm sure they were looking at the pre-orders of all the launch lineups, and like all the bars were up here, and then the Destruction All Stars was like nothing, and they're like, maybe this would have more success.
Yeah,
on PlayStation Plus, which I think it will. I will try this game. I have a feeling I'll have fun once or twice and then probably never play it again. Yeah. But
we saw a trailer and got some gameplay stuff. They're about to do for most of them, and I kind of read for it. I kind of forgot a lot of it. The trailer didn't show too. I mean, it gave you an idea what the game is about, but it wasn't like straight gameplay.
Yeah, it's like gameplay. It was like one of those like kind of gameplay, but it's very doctored trailery gameplay. It's not like okay, let's play a match. It wasn't like that. But
so overall, I think Sony has a pretty solid launch line, I think.
I'm excited to see your PS5, see its giant labia, see if we can fit it inside our entertainment center.
Yeah, let's figure that out. They figure out how we're going to do the layout over here for our streams.
Oh, God. Why does it have to be so big and bulky?
I don't know. Speaking of big and bulky, my Shepherd.
It's probably some big. You can make a big, bulky Shepherd.
Exactly. Okay. It's in 7 day or whatever the hell they call it for you Mass Effect dorks. Where we got some Mass Effect news. The long awaited Mass Effect collection.
You could add like 3 more longs to that.
Yes. The long rumored Mass Effect Legendary Edition collection thing, whatever, is coming this or spring 2021 for current gen consoles and PC.
And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want your Mass Effect reactions, you come to the right place. There's Mass Effect fans, number 1 and number 2 fans. You can decide which is which over here, boy. Us and the femships and the alien sex can't get enough of all of it. We just love it. Boom. This is like, we might as well have like N7 just back here. Just rip all these off the wall. Put up femship. That's it. I've never played Mass Effect.
What are you talking about? I watched you play it.
I played 10 minutes of Mass Effect 2 and really hated it.
Yes.
And you've done nothing, right?
I've done nothing.
Woo! Very relevant gaming podcast here.
So, I will say about this, like, okay, I'm happy for people this is coming, and this is going to be forward compatible, wherever the hell you want to call it, for the next gen consoles. They already confirmed that.
Did my phone's time not update, or did my computer's time? Okay, my computer says 4:30 and this says 3:30. What time is it, Jeff?
It is definitely 3:30.
Okay. Whew. All right, we good.
I have no idea what's wrong with your laptop.
I don't know what's wrong with my laptop, dude.
Okay. It went forward in time again. When it, or I guess it never went back.
Yeah, it never went back, I guess, which is weird because it's connected to the internet, so I don't really understand how that happens.
My computer did it automatically.
Because I looked down and I'm like, oh shit, we gotta go in 30 minutes. What the hell?
Where was it? Oh yeah. But I'm kind of surprised no Switch port. I felt like that was a big part of all these rumors, and part of the reason people wanted this to exist.
Yeah. Do you think it's coming?
I feel like they would have said so.
Yeah, because it's been so long just to get to this announcement, period.
I mean, and Mass Effect 3 was on the Wii U. So,
yeah. Seems like,
I mean, from a power standpoint, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be on there.
Yeah, if they wanted it to be on there, it seems like it would be. I mean, we've gotten some announcements where the Switch version came later, but
yeah.
I mean, maybe we're just projecting. It feels like this whole announcement should have happened 5 years ago. So it's kind of, we just assume this has been made forever, but maybe it hasn't. I don't know.
We also got a little teaser visual thing for the next Mass Effect game, what they said is very early in production and has a bunch of veterans.
Is the internet hyped or scared because the last one was in
Darby? You know what's so weird? I haven't heard anyone mention the new Mass Effect game. I saw people excited for the collection, but I don't think I actually saw anyone talk about the game. They're probably scared because of Andromeda.
Is it made by BioWare proper? Like,
it was from BioWare's thing. I think they're getting a bunch of veterans back in the fold, but I don't know. I think it's a long ways off though.
Interesting. They did another Dragon Age where they just tease it 4 years before it comes out. Yeah, BioWare needs a win, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they arguably haven't had a win since... I mean, I guess technically the last Dragon Age was kind of a win.
It won Game of the Years. It was like, It has to be the worst Game of the Year winner ever, but...
Yeah. They haven't had a complete 100% win since Mass Effect 2.
No. Yeah, people don't talk about Inquisition, really, even though it won Game of the Year and stuff.
It's not looked back on fondly from what I can tell.
It was not very good, to be honest, in my opinion.
But do you know what was good, Darby? The latest Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase.
It was pretty good.
It
was neat. Pretty good.
As mentioned when we talked about Hyrule Warriors, that was where that was announced, which was cool. We also got a couple other little things in there, but we're going to just talk about...
The return of Fu!
We got some No More Heroes information, baby. We got an actual gameplay trailer of 3. We saw in-game, we saw Travis hacking and slashing and fighting giant
No one in front of the screen.
Nope. We saw Fu in there. Like Darby said, Fu is obviously in this game. It'd be very disappointing after all this if he wasn't.
No, I would kind of appreciate it if he was just marketing, but no, yeah, Fu, that was good. Yeah.
All those fucking aliens from that trailer at the Game Awards, the best trailer from the Game Awards last year, we're going to kill all of them.
You had people breaking the fourth wall, talking to you directly about Switch ports and stuff. Yeah,
we also got the shadow drops of the No More Heroes 1 and 2 for the Switch.
Very cool.
It's very tempting for me to get this.
I'm guessing you've only played those games once, right? Like back in the day, yeah. But
been a little bit.
Yeah.
I already know some things have aged poorly, but I don't care.
I'm sure it's still a lot of fun.
Yep.
I hope any of this gets enough success to like make their money back and do all that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for them real hard because I mean, like they're gonna make No More Heroes fans super happy, and I know that. I just hope that they can.
We finally got the No More Heroes 3 trailer from one of these partner directs. We expected it every time. We finally got it.
Yep.
It wasn't even...
Where is that going to be in Jeff's most anticipated 2021 games? I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't thought about it.
Interesting.
There are a lot of games. But you know what's not going to be on that list? Bravely Default 2.
You know what?
I'm
what
sorry.
they always say,
that was mean.
If you have nothing nice to say,
I had a transition there.
I mean, you're not wrong though.
Yeah. It's how this started off. It's coming February 26th. There's another demo out there. They released another demo. They're gonna have a video if it's not already released where they're gonna talk about all the shit people posted.
I mean, we're not being hyperbolic and saying it looks fucking rough, right? Like, the art style just does not look good. I'm sorry, it just does not.
Gameplay looks fine. Typical old school JRPG thing, which is fine on its own. We enjoy that stuff.
It looks worse than what I remember the 3DS one's looking like.
So I think here's a major problem is that graphical style worked on the 3DS because the 3DS is not that powerful, so it makes sense to have that kind of art style. You're on the Switch. I mean, I know it's not the most powerful thing, but we've seen what the Switch can do, and you just do the art style that is reminiscent of that. And we were kind of okay with it. We thought it looked good because on the 3DS. Now it's like, okay, now it just looks weird.
I would be really interested to see a comparison because I really feel like this looks worse, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just rose color. Yeah, I haven't seen the 3DS one like recently, but I don't know. Those faces just look, just the models and everything looks very bad. It just looks bad, and it doesn't. There's nothing gameplay wise or anything else that's like really grabbing me. Even the original Bravely Default didn't really do it for me that much. Even though it's more my type of game, it was maybe a little too safe and a little too predictable as far as like too old school as far as the RPG-ness goes. I kind of like turn-based RPGs that kind of mix things up a little and get weird.
It's weird.
That's why I like Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake and shit like that, because we twist it.
Sorry, I know something else you like. Control on Switch. I know that's your dream.
Because it ran so good on PS4, I just want to get it on something less powerful.
Well, Darby, luckily you can do that because Control Ultimate Edition is available via the cloud.
Which I'm sure will be super reliable over exclusively Wi-Fi since I have no Ethernet adapter.
Yes.
Have we really seen how is this working for people? People who've actually played this.
I don't think great. There is a demo you can play. You can try it out before actually buying this.
Maybe I'll try that out just to report back and see how. Because I think that would be a worthwhile thing to test out for our gaming podcast. Because this is probably going to keep happening.
Yeah,
this is probably the
beginning. As it is with Hitman 3.
Yes, exactly. Especially going into next gen consoles, because like right now we are probably at the very, very edge where like you can still kind of fit some AAA big RPGs and other games like that on the Switch barely. Like you have Witcher, it looks like potato quality, but it can go. Well, as soon as we get into next gen, that's probably completely off the table. You cannot have these things run on the Switch natively. So the cloud is probably going to be the future of Switch ports like that. But it's like, how well is it going to work?
I don't know.
And it's like,
I've heard great things about it.
I mean, I'm interested to see what you think as a businessman, as someone who likes to think about the business side of things. I kind of worried between all these ports that they're doing that are like of varying degrees of quality. Some of them are just straight up like, do not buy this on Switch. It runs bad.
Outer Worlds.
Exactly. Between all of those, and then now if they go into cloud, but the cloud stuff just runs really poorly, especially since the vast majority of people are going to be on Wi-Fi, and especially if they try to do it handheld. I kind of worry that Nintendo is just going to build up a reputation with a lot of people of having shitty ports that you never want to ever buy. And like casual gamers who might have a Switch and a PS4 start getting these games on Switch, and then eventually they're just going to be like, no, I don't buy things on my Switch because it always runs like shit. Like, do you think there's a worry in like Nintendo kind of shooting themselves in the foot by putting a bunch of games they can't actually run?
I don't know if it'll go as long enough to where people won't buy anything on the Switch.
Not anything, but I mean, like, they're gonna get a reputation of like, you buy your Marios and Zeldas here, but you don't buy other things because it's gonna run like crap.
It's a weird thing where I don't know if it really changed the needle at all, because it kind of is that in a way, unless what you're trying to say with that is people won't buy like indies on it or something. Like, it for a lot of people, it is the Nintendo / indie machine anyway. Third parties being there, I mean, it's either for a lot of these third parties, it's either this kind of shit and like for which you're running like a potato, or nothing.
But I actually think that nothing is better sometimes, because like Dragon Age Inquisition was a very good example. I paid $60 for that game on PS3, and it literally just would not run. It would I went through walls. It was just absolutely. It was like the most broken I have ever seen a AAA game be.
What I was trying to say is
that pissed me off more than I was livid, and that's why I actually think it's kind of worse to put out the bad port than it is to not put out any port, because then you have people pissed off at you. You have pissed off consumers who don't want to buy your product anymore. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I don't know if that. It depends on the person. I don't know if that would hurt Nintendo necessarily as much as the developers of those particular games.
Yeah, I can see that way. Yeah,
because as bad as I'm not. What I'm about to say, I'm not doing it to defend Nintendo. It's just the facts. Just because the way they decided. A lot of the stuff running like shit is kind of expected, and it's technically not Nintendo. I mean, I guess.
Just the thing that, and this is a conversation I'm not trying to say I'm right and you're wrong, but I'm just saying I'm thinking of it's expected by me and you.
Yeah.
But there's other people who don't really understand. You need to buy the high powered stuff on this and the low powered stuff on Switch, and this is a graphically intensive game. Yeah. This is not. I bet you there are a lot of people who don't really understand that whole dynamic.
No, you're right. It's there are going to be a number of people, especially with kids and parents and stuff. You're like, I bought this thing. Why isn't it working on this thing? It should work.
Right. And that's how I felt with the Inquisition. It was like, you sold me this thing for full price, so I have a reasonable expectation that it's going to run.
Yeah. At least so far, for the most part, and we got stuff like The Witcher, which runs, but just at a lesser quality for sure. It sounds like stuff like Outer Worlds or more the exception to the.
But Witcher is also a 2015 game.
I know.
It's 5 years ago.
No. I know.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the thing with the Switch. That's why we besides Outer Worlds, we haven't gotten really many of the AAA mini AAA games besides now getting these that are going to do it by the cloud. And the rumor that I think RE2 is coming soon. People data mined, and that's supposed to be coming.
Yeah. Is that the one? Or no, it's RE7 that came in Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't start with those. I don't know. Well, whatever.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I just don't. I feel like this is a band-aid solution. Nintendo's trying desperately to hold it because the Switch is super popular, so they want to dip into that market. And I just really don't think this is going to be the answer.
Yeah,
I don't trust it. I would not trust buying one of these games on that. But.
And it's fair because we don't really trust too much cloud on our fancy laptops, and
exactly. Yeah.
So Darby, want to talk about some Switch sales? Mm-hmm. We got that quarterly report.
It gives me life.
It gives me life, Darby.
I need quarterly reports to survive.
I need quarterly reports every week.
They're straight into my veins.
So we got some updated sales for a bunch of Switch games. Some of them we haven't got updates for a while. I don't know what was different this time, but they seem to update everything. Got update the numbers on everything. I'm not putting everything on here. Just ones okay, these kind of stand out, and some of the bigger ones. Switch lifetime sales are now at 68.3 million, which passes the NES. So it getting up there.
Is there any other besides the Wii Nintendo thing in between? Is it the second highest Nintendo selling thing now?
As far as home console, I think so.
Nice.
Also very important to note, unless maybe some of the new games have a little more updated, but all these sales should be by September 30th when the quarter ended. Paper Mario Origami King, 2.82 million, making it already the second best selling Paper Mario game.
I think that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good for this game.
Yeah, almost 3 million.
I was curious how this would sell. Almost 3 million right off pretty quickly. So
I think that's pretty good.
And I think I saw someone say that it's maybe besides Super Paper Mario. Well, that's even less of an RPG. Whatever. Like if you compare it to like other Mario RPGs, it's already made one of the best selling. Maybe besides like Super Mario RPG, which I think sold a good amount.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 28.99 million.
It's all right. Yeah, it's
I think I don't know if it was already that way, but I think these numbers might put Mario Kart 8 if you combine 8 original on the Wii U and Deluxe past Mario Kart Wii in total sales.
How much is Mario Kart Wii? Jesus Christ!
I don't know, around 35 million, maybe.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah,
but this is also a lot.
Yeah, I think depending how long the Switch goes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could surpass it just on its own. Who knows?
Juggernaut status.
Yes, we'll get to another juggernaut later. Breath of the Wild, 19.74 mil, almost there, the 20 million mark.
That's more than that. It's honestly still more than I would have thought that Breath of the Wild was after the first year. Like, you know, it seemed like it slowed down for a long time and then started ramping back up again. I think just as people buy Switches.
Yeah, it's consistently selling. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, 1.4 million.
It's a good bit less than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, isn't that?
I'll go ahead and say it. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is 2.05 mil.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I guess it's comparable enough, but I don't even know. I guess I would expect Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to sell more. I guess I don't know because it's more of a modern game. But, yeah. But I could have been convinced either way. I don't know, but
it's still more than.
Do you think 1.4 is good for this?
Yeah, it's a port of an old Wii like JRPG SJRPG game. Yeah. I think for that it is good.
Yeah, it's a pretty niche thing.
I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like shortly after released, with a couple 100,000 sales less, was already the best-selling Xeno game.
I mean, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 2 super overperformed what I expected it to do. So.
Speaking of games doing better than we thought, Ring Fit Adventure, 5.84 million.
That number could be so much higher.
It could be.
It was actually a stock.
They're raking in that money. Like I mentioned it before, Ring Fit Adventure, prepare for that character to be in Smash. Not this DLC, but in the future.
Yeah. In a future Smash, if there is one.
Yep. Super Mario Party, 12.1 million.
Undeserved.
It might be the best-selling one.
The more, like, Super Mario Party, we all just gave it the benefit of the doubt that it's like, hey, this is a good start. They're obviously going to add more, and this is going to become like the definitive Mario Party. Oh, that's it? There's zero more content coming? Okay, so you gave us a fourth of a video game. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Nintendo. Super Mario Party makes me really sad because it's like, it was a really good, again, fourth of a game.
Well,
it's unbelievable to me that game never got more
And the
support.
thing that sucks is because it sold all this, it's going to be one of those situations where they're not going to learn from it. Like, because it's consistently sold. It's not just it started out strong, then petered off. It's like, no, it's just selling more and more.
Yeah.
It has legs.
And I understand why people bought it like me, because like it's fun, but it's just there's not even close to enough game there. And it sucks that like Mario Kart gets to have like the best version of itself. There hasn't been a Mario Party that everyone agrees is like a complete good game since the damn GameCube or something. It's like it's been a minute, or the N64 or something. Has there only been one good Mario Party?
There are a couple. I don't know. So we one good? I can't remember.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's been the last few are like okay. That's about it.
Sad thing is still better. Like Super Mario Party is still better than the Wii U one.
Yeah.
Which is really sad. Pokemon Sword and Shield, 19.02 million. Lots. Smash Ultimate, 21.1 million. Let's go, baby.
Wonder how much that's increased with DLC, or like just the normal amount, or like. You know, I wish we could see DLC sales.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're going to see a bump during next quarter because Steve.
I feel like
these sales are pre-Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve he gonna get that Steve bump.
Well, it's gonna be kind of hard to tell because it's gonna have a Steve bump plus holiday bump.
Yeah.
A lot of bumps there. A lot of good bumps.
Some good bumps.
But what I think had a good bump is Luigi's Mansion 3 at 7.83 million. Let's go, baby.
That's very good for Luigi's.
That is very good for Luigi's Mansion.
Very good.
I am very pleased. That game is fantastic.
All right, Jeff. I super have to pee. I'm sorry. Do you think if you think you can just go through the rest of the sales on your own and give commentary to it, you can, or you can wait for me. I'll be very fast if you just power through the sales though.
Okay. Maybe one of your. We'll see. I'll say it and then bring it up when you get back. I guess I don't know. Let's see. Super Mario Odyssey, baby. Yeah, let's go. Best game ever. At 18.99 million. Still now, how much below is it? Breath of the Wild now? Close to a million? It was ahead of it for a while, but Breath of the Wild finally surpassed it, I think, last quarter, and it's just keeping that way. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, 4.57 million. Good for that game, I believe. I think it now puts it, I think I saw it puts it at the 4th best-selling 2D Zelda game. Phantom Hourglass, the original Zelda, and Link to the Past, probably. I think it's the 3rd one. And I think the number 2 slots only at like 4.8, I think I saw, million. So I have to imagine Link's Awakening is going to surpass it pretty soon. And if it continues having legs, could be the best-selling 2D Zelda game of all time. We got a couple more sales then, but I kind of want Darby to be here for it. I mentioned Xenoblade 2. I think it's been a while since we had numbers for that, so don't think we knew it crossed 2 million or not. So it's nice to see the confirmation. And there I could be. I was just saying, I think it's been a while since we've seen Xenoblade 2 numbers, so I think this is the first we've seen it officially passing 2 mil. We just kind of assumed it did.
Are that still on this list? That's cool.
Okay, Darby, I saved a couple for you. So I think hit me. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, 5.21 million in like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Again, saves Nintendo's year with the least amount of effort possible.
Yeah. So
and then now we're gonna go into like Black Friday holiday sales, and that's gonna be a top item.
Yeah, well, whatever little doubt there was for anyone that they're not gonna pull this shit with Zelda.
They're pulling the shit with Zelda.
They're 100% pulling the shit with Zelda.
They did it with the freaking Fire Emblem like port thing. I mean,
speaking of Fire Emblem, Fire Emblem Three Houses, 3.02 million. I think officially making it the best-selling Fire Emblem game.
I'm sorry. I'm honestly kind of surprised it took that long.
I think Fates between both versions was slightly above it, but this is the first of us. Yeah. Nice. Breaking 3 million, which is really good for this. Love that game.
Very good for that.
And finally, the other juggernaut that's not Mario Kart 8. Animal Crossing New Horizons, 26.04 million. Darby, I think this could surpass Mario Kart 8 pretty soon for the best-selling Switch game.
Wow.
It's a difference of about 3-ish million at this point.
Think about how damn fast it did that. Just like,
after 6 months?
Holy shit. It's like at some point you gotta evaluate like where does Animal Crossing stand on Nintendo's IP list of like popularity and juggernaut status, like currently now in 2020, because it's up there.
I mean, it's top 3 easy, right?
Easy. I mean, that's
the only reason I don't think it wouldn't count that way if we. I mean, do we count Mario in general, Mario Kart separate?
I just feel like I think more kids today might recognize Animal Crossing than Link.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say anymore.
Yeah. I think the top ones are easily, let's just say Mario in general, Pokemon, Animal Crossing.
I think that's true. Yeah. I think that is the 3 at this point, which is wild.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing has shot the hell up.
Yep. Get ready for Tom Nook and Smash. Time for some other news.
Other news.
The meeting got delayed to January 28th. They put out a statement. The statement pretty much read, COVID-19 was a factor, of course. and they just kind of said other games that were coming out around this original date. In other words, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, cough, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk got moved to the exact day it was coming out, I believe. So they're like, hell no, we're moving.
Yeah, it's probably smart, but this also just in video games anymore. That's just there's never ever good days. Like they'll move and then something else.
While that is true,
I mean, it's still the smart. Yeah,
it's still Cyberpunk. If you're gonna move from a game,
no, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing.
Which I'm not against, especially if they needed a little more time. Because better chance of me just playing a day one with Game Pass, baby.
I mean, the launch is probably more crowded. It's way more crowded than it normally is, and maybe more than the medium thought it would be.
Yep. Godfall is going to be a 6-month PS5 exclusive.
See, we're barely making progress, guys. We took the year-long exclusivity, we cut it in half. Now it's just 6 months. We're getting there. We're going. I mean, I don't really give a shit about Godfall's exclusivity, but yeah.
Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine have been delayed until next fiscal year. Far Cry, I don't know what date they set for Rainbow Six. I don't believe that's a game.
They haven't talked about it since the E3, I think. So I don't think they ever had a date set.
I think they just said it was going to be out by the end of the fiscal year. I think that was the extent of it. But Far Cry got like a February date, but now it's just a nebulous. It's going to be out between, I guess, April and next March. I mean, March 2022. Somewhere in that timeline.
So we've basically said nothing here. Cool. It's not coming out Q1 next year. That's all we know.
Yeah. It got delayed to who knows when the fuck when. Yeah. And I don't think this is very surprising, but, it's not that confirmation. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is only coming to the PS5, Insomniac confirms. Well, I think it was kind of safe to say this. It was like a 100% thing, considering Horizon and Miles Morales they went back on.
It would have been weird if it was coming to the PS4, because their entire thing about this was the loading times that the PS5 allows them to do or whatever. It is weird in a vacuum that the Horizon sequel is coming to PS4 and the Ratchet & Clank sequel is not. You would 100% think they would be the other way around graphically, and just an intensive thing. But I mean, that's just like thinking about it in broad terms. If you had not actually seen the games, seeing Ratchet & Clank, that's part of what I love so much about that PS5 event is that the graphical showcase was Ratchet & Clank, rather than a super realistic game, because I thought it was cool how they showed this graphical power doesn't always have to just go for super realistic gritty faces. It can also go for a super stylized art style thing, but it just pops and it just can do crazy things. I think it's more surprising that Horizon is coming to PS4 than Ratchet & Clank being exclusive.
Oh, 100%.
That's more the surprising thing.
When I brought it up, it wasn't for the fact they went back on Miles or Horizon.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for other news. Now we'll get to our main topics. I don't know. It's kind of a news story that moves us into our main topic. So, Darby, Cyberpunk got delayed, as we've mentioned throughout this podcast, to December 10th.
How many podcasts have we had?
After going gold, by the way.
After going gold.
Not the first time a game's done this, but literally hours after they told a Twitter user.
You see that?
I took work off, so that means I'm good, right? You're not going to delay the... Nope, this is the date.
Totally good. 4 hours later. Never mind.
I mean, honestly, with what it sounds like, as far as CD Projekt not telling employees, I can believe the person that posted that.
The people making the damn game didn't know until it was tweeted out.
No reason to believe that the social media manager.
He probably is way down the totem pole.
Yeah. So, that happened. I'm slightly worried about this game as far as how it's going to run.
There's gonna be problems. I think there would be problems if you gave them an additional 2 years to make this game. I still think there would be problems just because it is trying to do so damn much. I mean, it is a gigantic. I mean, The Witcher. I played it multiple years after launch, and there were times I just glitch through things or roach came inside my body. There's gonna be things in a big RPG like this anyway. I'm sure there's probably gonna be some great game breaking things here and there or whatever. It's a very big game. It's a very big game that's trying to do a lot. I think ultimately, I think the game is still, for most people and for the most part, is going to like run well enough, and I think I don't have much of a doubt that it's going to give me everything I ever wanted out of it, and I am like it's just so much my jam. Again, I think I said this on the podcast, or it might have just been off. I really, really, really can almost promise you that the gaming media is going to not like this game. I think me and you are probably going to like it, and we're going to feel like outcasts, even though in the general public, most people like it. It's going to feel like, I think it's going to be RDR 2 over again, is what I'm predicting. But
I just don't understand, baby.
I am expecting there to be a lot of people who really want you to know that Cyberpunk sucks. You enjoy Cyberpunk? What the there's going to be a lot of those. There's going to be a lot of those.
Kind of transitioning into the main thing in a way. Because it got delayed, it is not going to be part of this year's Game Awards, which is hilarious. But that means people got a whole another year to just talk about how much they may or may not like Cyberpunk. Or at least pop up again at the end of next year.
It'll just never go away.
Because it will be eligible a year after.
I mean, it's bad this industry is just so like snotty that like I can just already see that coming a mile away. Like we already had to deal with RDR 2, we had to deal with Last of Us Part 2. It's not quite as bad as The Last of Us Part 2 that leading up to that game I was just like stealing myself getting ready for the discourse on that game, and like I don't know if any game in history will ever get as bad discourse wise as Last of Us Part 2 did. I think that might be peak bad, but I expect this to be similar to like RDR in that nothing will be worse than Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah. So
but the delay, like obviously I'll play this game. That I wish that I had any confidence that delaying the game actually like led to less crunch or anything like that, but I don't have that confidence whatsoever.
In fact, we feel the opposite, where it leads to more crunch, undoubtedly.
Yep. But as far as the Game Awards, transitioning over into that, I think we're obligated to like kind of shit on the Game Awards again for a little bit, right? Yep. Of just like this is a very, very good example of why doing a Game Awards show in December makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's fine. I mean,
he's banking on there not being big games in December, which there normally isn't. But
like in 2017, Xenoblade missed it and just wasn't nominated at all the next year. I'm not saying it would have won anything, but it could have easily been in Best RPG. I can't remember what else was there that year. Definitely in Best Soundtrack. I think it'll at least be nominated, not win necessarily, because Persona and Nier were that year. So, but yeah, and then obviously Super Smash Bros. 2 years ago did not make it, but it was nominated last year, which was weird.
and I'm sure
Cyberpunk's gonna be weirder in a way because Smash is kind of its own thing. We're talking about it throughout, so it just didn't feel weird. Cyberpunk is going to be a game that people did most of the talking a year ago.
And I bet you less people will vote for that next year than they would have this year, because it's just like you've already done all your own Game of the Year things where you kind of already litigated this. You compared it against the actual games that came out the same year as. And then you get to the Game Awards, and it's really weird because like now you have to consider it again, but you're considering it against a completely different group of games. But like, it's always going to feel like I think the voters are going to vote for it less because like it feels wrong.
Yeah,
and it should feel wrong because it's not the right year.
Yeah,
it's the wrong year.
Let's say hypothetically, Cyberpunk wins Game of the Year next year.
It could win twice. Like it could win your own Game of the Year, and then whenever you're one of the voters for Game of the Year for Keeley's, you might be like, I guess I'm voting for this again. What?
No. What's gonna be weird is like, let's say hypothetically, Cyberpunk wins Game of the Year next year. The thing that would win Game of the Year at the big awards show where most of the big outlets voted together. That game's not going to win any other Game of the Year thing at that same time because it's not out that year, and it's just weird.
Because it's already won or not won.
Yeah, and it could win a bunch of Game of the Year awards, most of them, but not even be nominated for the big game
it's
awards
just very
show.
Messy. I mean, and this is like Keeley's thing was just like always banking on this scenario not happening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw some people like when this thing happened, like talking about it in podcasts, like, oh, there was no guarantee Cyberpunk was going to be eligible anyways. Like, Keighley pretty much said it was because when the announcement happened, it's like Super Smash Bros., Cyberpunk is now going to be at next year's eligible for next year's show for the first time.
He was acting like now this happened.
Yeah,
like,
because it's not like before. Keighley knew. Like, potentially, like Keighley is going to have the date before Cyberpunk. But since he didn't officially said so, he could have pushed it back.
That's the problem too. Just like Keighley's thing. I mean, I guess like it's weird. I guess we should just like not take any of this seriously and basically just treat Game Awards as like E3 Part 2, and that's its primary focus pretty much at this point. Because like the rules, there are no clear rules. The date changes every year. Like it changes just because he wants Cyberpunk to be involved with this, so I'm gonna like push the date back to get the Cyberpunk. There is no rules. It's just completely like PUBG gets apparently Among Us might get it. Like there is just no rhyme or reason to any of this. It's whatever Keighley feels like getting included, which whatever. It's dumb fun, but the legitimacy of your awards kind of takes a hit when I think when you do this.
I swear to God, if Fortnite is put up for Game of the Year, because it technically came out this year.
It's like you gotta stop this at some point. You gotta just That's what your ongoing game category is for.
Yep, that's what I think Among Us should be on and win for.
Yes.
Potentially win.
I mean, I know it's messy because games are different than movies. Like movies and shows come out at a time, and that's the time or whatever. And games can be more nebulous, and they can like change a lot 2 years in and do all this. But
what is this VR game that's got a 90 rating? I'm going to need to look into that shit. Apparently, it's on PSVR. It's called Until You Fall. Yeah, I'll look into that later. So I figured what we do now. We were talking about Game Awards in general, potentially categories. I say we just focus on Game of the Year because that's what Cyberpunk really changed. Because we've kind of talked about just for funsies on the podcast and on the podcast. What might be the Game of the Awards, Game of the Year nominees? Yes. We assumed Cyberpunk was a shoe-in. Now it's not gonna be. So I figured since we now have an idea of all the...
So how many were nominated last year for Game of the Year?
6, I believe.
6, okay.
Let me pull it up because I know 6 in 2018. Let me make sure that it was that way.
I think at some point there was added at least one.
No. In 2018 it was 6 because I'm not 100% sure, but I could see it potentially. Making room for like Celeste or something. Let's see. Game of the Year. They were 6. I'm just going to assume he's going to continue with 6.
Yeah, we'll just roll with 6 for now.
So I figured we can predict and see how close we are.
Yeah. Do you want to go? I'm sure a lot of ours will be the same. Or do you just want to like kind of generally put things up and then whittle it down?
I figured it might be more fun for our discussion thing where we just do a group prediction.
Yeah.
We just kind of discussed it out a little bit.
Let's just put up the possibilities and then try to whittle it down to 6.
I got an open critic because, it's just one thing instead of Metacritic, which had same games multiple times by console. I figured we go through the first couple pages and just kind of go from there.
Okay.
The top rated games, because I can imagine any of them would be on this list.
Yes.
I'm not going to read out every single one necessarily, because if I don't know what it is, it's probably not going to make it in. I have to imagine.
I think there's only...
Or heard much about.
Yeah, there's only a certain group that I think are even considered right now.
Okay. First, number 1, the top rated game of the year, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah, as long as he is going to include it, which I kind of figure he will, because Jeff doesn't say no to much.
Yeah,
I think it'll be on there. I personally don't think it should really be considered.
I'll put it down as our maybe thing. There's a list of games I think could potentially be. I'm gonna go with personally no. We'll see what we do, just because I don't think too many people played it. Like the people voting for this, they played Persona 5.
Yeah.
But I don't know if enough of these people played Royal, per se.
There have been previous nominees that I would have said the same thing for, but still got nominated. Sekiro won last year, and I would not have thought that was played enough by the gaming industry people.
True, but it feels like the Persona 5... I mean, and I know a lot of them, Persona 5 diehards played it. You had people that, Let me put it this way. Look at Easy Allies. None of them have played Royal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
That's such Margaret. Hades. I think that's I think that's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, we'll have to see what else comes, but I struggle to see how it would not be.
Yeah, let me just pull up them side by side. Yeah. Make it easier. I don't know. Why does it do this? Last of Us Part 2, I think we can agree that it is probably a lock.
Yeah, I think so. I would be very angry if it was not on there.
Half-Life Alex.
Put it on there for now. I think it's a pretty prime candidate to get taken off just because of kind of like you were saying, not enough people playing it.
Yeah.
I think like quality. I think the people who did play it will be hard arguing for it, but
yep. Microsoft Flight Simulator. No.
It might win something else, some other category.
Crusader Kings 3. I'm gonna go with
no. It has an outside shot, but I would say no.
Animal Crossing.
Yes.
I will be surprised. Like, it's not the normal kind of game in there, but so many dang people played that game.
Oh, yeah. It has to be on there, I think.
Ori.
Should be. Put it on there. I think it has a chance of not making the cut with only 6, even though it should.
There is no game. What the fuck is this thing? I'll save that for later.
So we can't go over
I know. Let me save these things just so I can look at them later. Dreams, nah.
Sad.
Can be nominated for something. I don't think Tony Hawk's gonna make it.
I don't think so either.
I think. I think it's
category.
Is remake remaster of category? I know
it'll probably win sports game.
Yeah,
that's probably what it'll win.
If there's a remake remaster category, Tony Hawk, I'm just gonna predict now is gonna win.
I don't think there is. So I think it'll just win sports / racing.
Xenoblade should be. Doom Eternal.
I don't think it will, just because I think this the competition is very steep. I think it's like right on the cusp, and I wouldn't be like shocked if it did.
I'll just put it down the short list just for it.
Florence saying the 2020 game. What the hell is that doing there?
It will
come to Switch in 2020 or something. It's not.
Yeah, it will count stuff like that.
Yeah.
Legends of Runeterra. Mission is complicated. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I don't know. It better be on there. Oh, we riot. We take to the damn streets.
I don't think Spelunky 2 will make it.
No, again, I think the people who played Spelunky 2 will be very mad. But.
Good chance, okay, it's definitely going to be nominated for Best Indie. Yeah. I think Hades is going to win that category.
Probably.
Spiritfarer, no.
Yeah, maybe Best Indie.
Let's see, Littlewood, Yakuza Like a Dragon, no.
No.
13 Sentinels, I want to play that game.
Yeah, people say very good things about it.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yep. How many are we up to now?
We are at 9.
Oof. There's gonna be some snubs.
Yep. Let's see. I'm just gonna go one more page just to see if there's.
Yeah. I can't on top of my head remember any others that I think have a chance.
I don't think Miles Morales.
I don't
would
either.
do it.
I don't
Astro's Playroom, of course.
Yeah, that's all I had in my head.
I know. I just want to make sure because Ghost of Tsushima was a little lower in score, so I just want to double check to make sure we're not forgetting.
Like RE3 is not.
Oh fuck! No More Heroes got 8. Let's go, Big B. Okay. So this is what we got so far to narrow it down from Persona 5 Royal, Hades, The Last of Us Part 2, Half-Life Alyx, Animal Crossing, Ori, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, we have 9 here.
You wanna make a cut? Who you gonna cut?
I'm gonna go Doom Eternal.
Yeah,
let's get that out of the way.
I agree with that. It's definitely gonna be on some people's list, but I don't think it's gonna be on the general.
Mm-hmm. Something you said the other day is like the more thought about it. It's like I think you're right. You said people kind of not sour necessarily, but kind of come down on it a little bit.
Especially a lot more than 2016 was. I've seen a fair amount of discussion being like, yeah, like I haven't talked about it much, but I was kind of disappointed about this. You know, I didn't really get into it as much.
So.
You kind of are selling me more on P5 Royal, and I think it would be very up there. I think just 6. There's a lot of big games in here. How many? So we're at 8.
Yes. So 2 more.
It's probably P5 and Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah.
And that would bring us to 7, right?
Oh, wait. So something... Oh, wait. Okay,
but Ori, I really feel the snub energy coming from Ori, and I'm going to be really mad.
So here's the thing, something we kind of forgot about. I was trying to actually remember. Games that aren't out yet. That haven't gotten reviews.
Yeah.
Demon Souls.
Yeah, Demon Souls is going to be on there. Bugsnax is not going to be on there.
I'll throw Demon Souls.
No, that was a good point. I think Demon Souls is the only one, though.
Yeah.
Let
me just pull up.
But Assassin's Creed freaking Odyssey was nominated in the year it came out.
I'll put Valhalla.
This might just be a stronger year than that was, but like at least for the top games.
Games.
But I also think that Odyssey is very severely overrated. But so like here it is.
Yeah, but there's for Valhalla. Odyssey is a weird thing where you definitely think it was overrated, but I'm about to say new in a way. I know its style isn't new, but it's new for Assassin's Creed, which it
was kind of the second one, but it kind of Origins.
I don't know how to describe it, but you get what I'm saying.
There was definitely more hype for it than this.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't necessarily think it's that different.
Oh fuck! Paw Patrol, Mighty Pup, Save Adventure Bang.
Oh shit! Scrub, put it all away.
I swear to God, if Fortnite makes it on there, man. Don't think Lost Dogs is gonna make it. That's for sure. Let's see.
I really think Demon's Souls is the only one of.
Yeah, no. I just want to double check, make sure I'm not forgetting. We're just not forgetting a big game. Yeah. Fuck Hyrule Warriors. Let's get them now. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what category that thing could potentially be in. Odds are it won't, and I'll be salty as hell. Yeah, but that's the only one that's coming out that I think has a shot.
And I really do think it will be in there. I would probably take other things up. So, are you cool with P5 Royal and Half-Life Alyx both going?
Yep.
Okay. So
again, with Persona, I just don't think there are enough people who played it to do it. These games,
and I really don't think it should be considered, to be honest, because I don't think it's enough of a new game. But
spoiler, it's going to be on my list. But
oh yeah, we can do what we want. But as far as the official,
so now we got 8 games, so we got to narrow down 2. I'll read out things again for you in the audience. Hades, Last of Us Part 2, Animal Crossing, Ori, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon Souls, Valhalla. Damn, Sony Eden. Half of these games are Sony exclusive. So this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think looking at this list, I'm at the point I'm going to be kind of surprised if Hades doesn't make it.
If Hades doesn't make it on the final, yeah, I agree with you.
Last of Us, I think is also a lock.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII, I believe is a lock. Animal Crossing, I also believe is a lock.
I agree.
So we pretty much got it down to Ori, Ghost of Tsushima, Demon Souls, and Valhalla for the final 2.
It's 2, yeah, final 2.
So I'm going to go ahead and say take out Valhalla because I think Ghost of Tsushima would potentially get on there. Similar kind of game, same reasons, more fresh in a way. And I feel like more people... Since Valhalla is just about to come out, not as many people will probably finish it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, and I also just think that I think people would fight me on this, but I think like maybe 2018 when Odyssey came out or whenever it was.
Yeah.
I think maybe 2018 had more quantity good games. I think 2020 is better as far as the top. I think there are just more like...
I need to see my final list.
Like knock it out of the fucking park at the top, like just top tier, some of the top of all time games in 2020.
2018 had Red Dead, Smash, Celeste, God of War. Astrobot.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's close.
Game of the Forever Spider-Man.
I think people slightly underrate 2020 is all I mean. 2020 is pretty legendary, but...
So we got one game to take off between Ori, Ghost of Tsushima, and Demon Souls. I'm going to go ahead and make the executive... I got a feeling Ghost of Tsushima, based on this list, is probably going to make it.
Yeah.
Because it's been out, and it's the only open world game.
I guess that is true.
And I feel like that will carry it away.
And I feel like me and you were kind of. I think we were out. I think people really, really like Ghost of Tsushima. When I see people on Twitter threads being like, "What's your game of the year?" I was legitimately pretty shocked in just how many Ghost.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say they prefer Ghost of Tsushima to Last of Us.
Yeah,
and these are from people that like Last of Us.
I think Ori gets cut and it's fucking blasphemy, and I personally won't stand for it.
So potentially,
that's what I think, honestly.
So. This is me just playing devil's advocate because I would not be surprised to see Demon's Souls on here. I just want to make that clear. A couple of reasons to potentially go against it. One, it is a 1-to-1 remake. And Shadow Colossus didn't make it. I don't even remember if it was nominated. And it's a very similar thing.
It's good. That's a good point. I appreciate the point. I do think Demon's Souls is going further and getting more hype than even Shadow of the Colossus did.
Another argument against Demon's Souls, like with Valhalla, it's coming out at the very end of the eligibility, so not as many people might play it.
I think there'll be enough. I think there's enough hype on it, and it's next-gen consoles. Yeah. It's going to be the centerpiece as far as showing off the next-gen hardware.
You know what? Yeah, I think you're probably, because that'd be the only true next-gen on here.
Because Miles is a PS4 game. I mean, it's going to run better than PS5, but it's a PS4 game. And honestly, none of Demon's Souls is the only one. I hate it, Jeff. I mean, this entire year, Ori has not got enough respect for how damn good that game is. Not enough people played it. Like, none of the allies played it other than, like, Ben. It's just not... It has not gotten the respect.
I think Damiani and Blood, at the very least, played it.
Okay, maybe not. But in general, people are not taught enough about it. It's up down. Well, it will be on ours, high as hell. You better believe.
I don't know where.
I don't know. It's going to be lower than we want, but it's going to be up there. It's going to be within 6, that's for damn sure. For me, at least.
I don't know. I'm not just saying that because I don't know where it is at this point with the games I've even played.
Yeah. It'll be up there for me.
Yeah. So we're taking Ori out?
Yeah, I think so. And it sounds like I've convinced you of this blasphemy.
It's mainly because, like... I'm 50-50 on it between Ori and Demon's Souls because I think there's good arguments for and against. I think what is taking me over the edge is, because like you were saying, next gen hype for Demon's Souls, it is the only true next gen thing which will carry it a ways with this crowd. And like you were saying, Ori's just not getting the love. There are people that like us who played Ori, love Ori, and will sing its praises to the heavens.
Yes.
But it doesn't seem to be enough. A lot of people are just
not
playing this beautiful boy enough.
And Sekiro just won the dang thing last year. That was a kind of a surprise thing. It's like,
Okay, so our final joint prediction, which I don't really disagree with that whatsoever. No. Hades, The Last of Us Part 2, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, and Demon's Souls. Man, that'd be crazy if at least Sony first party games and then Final Fantasy VII get on there.
I think it's going to happen this year. All right, very quick, who wins? Very quick, who wins?
I'm sorry, I know you said very quick, but
snap decision. It's not your final guess. Not your final guess.
You know what? I'm going to go crazy. Animal Crossing.
That's kind of where I was leaning, to be honest.
The reason I had to say is I was wondering with that or Last of Us.
I'm honestly between Animal Crossing, Last of Us, and Hades. I'm going to go Hades. Indie winning the game of the year.
You know what, Darby? I like those predictions because neither of them are the obvious normal type things.
They're not, yeah. I'm going to go with it. I don't feel super duper confident about it, but I could honestly.
You know what? Here's the good thing about this.
There was nothing negative about Hades.
Darby, here is the good thing about this. I can see any of these nominees potentially winning except maybe Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like it's the love is strong enough for it to get nominated. But just like with Monster Hunter,
it'll win audience game of the year. A good chance, I think.
Yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima.
So that's where I am at.
Yeah. I agree. Unfortunately, I don't think Final Fantasy VII Remake's going to do it, but it should. In my heart, we know the truth.
Why don't people love anime?
Anime has not gotten enough wins.
It's true.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. We went over 2 hours for the first time in a long time, but it was good.
Look forward to potentially next week where we talk about next gen. Target can give me my damn PS5. Just send it to me already, you bastard.
Damn it, Target. All right, thank you guys so much.
Wait, Darby. I'm getting some final news.
Oh.
Orange was ejected! Bye.